Hello, Southeast students. Today we're going to talk about learning styles and how you learn best in the classroom and outside of the classroom. We're going to begin today by watching a YouTube video on learning styles, how to study for your learning style, and then we're going to take the assessment through career cruising.
Hack Tutoring presents How to Study for Your Learning Style. Alright, you've got a big test coming up. What are you going to do? How will you study for it? Some students think that there's one magical technique that will help everyone learn, but that is not the case. Sure, one strategy might work well for some, but it won't work for others because we all learn in different ways. That's why it is so important to identify your own personal learning style and use study tips that work best for the way that you learn. The most commonly identified learning styles are visual, auditory, and tactile or kinesthetic. So the first thing you need to do is find out which of these is your learning style. You might already have an idea of what your style is, but we recommend taking a learning styles inventory to get a better picture. There are a bunch of these available for free online. Just make sure you pick one from a reliable website, like this one from educationplanner.org. Answer each question as honestly as you can and see what results you get. If you discover that you're a visual learner, that means you mostly learn by reading and seeing pictures or diagrams. With that in mind, here are some studying tips to try. Tip number 1. Avoid visual distractions while studying. Turn off the TV or Netflix and face away from windows or doorways to focus better. Tip number 2. Use colorful highlighters to make text stand out. Consider using different colored highlighters to identify different types of information so that you can see the differences easily while you study the text. Tip number 3. Use flashcards for key definitions and explanations. That way, when the test comes, you can see in your mind what the card looked like and remember the facts. Tip number 4. Watch instructional videos like the one you're watching right now. You can look for useful videos on websites like YouTube or Khan Academy that specifically cover the concepts that you're working on in class. If you discover that you're an auditory learner, that means you learn more from speaking and listening. If that's the case, try these tips. Tip number 1, speak up in class. Sometimes it can be intimidating, but asking questions and participating in class discussions will really help you lock in key information. Tip number 2, when you do settle in to study, avoid auditory distractions. Find a quiet place to study in, silence your cell phone, and either turn off your music or set it to something that won't distract you, like a soft instrumental track or some white noise. Tip number 3. Read your notes or textbook sections out loud to help you better remember the content. You can even record yourself doing this on your phone and then listen to it later. Tip number 4. Watch instructional videos. I know we suggested this for visual learners, but the great thing about videos is that they're also really good for auditory learners since you can hear the explanations and examples. If you find that you're a tactile or kinesthetic learner, that means you learn best by touching or doing. Here are some tips if this is you. Tip number 1. Take frequent but quick breaks. You probably have a fairly short attention span when you're just sitting there trying to study, so break up that study time by spending a few minutes walking around or stretching every once in a while. Just make sure you come back before too long. Tip number 2. When you do come back and you review your notes or textbook, try to tie the content to real-world examples. You'll remember things better when you connect information to actions. Tip number 3. Do something physical while studying. Nothing super distracting like jumping jacks, but fiddling with a rubber band, squeezing a stress ball, or even tapping a pencil could help keep your mind focused. You might find that you have traits that are from a couple of different learning styles, and that's pretty normal, so don't be afraid to try new study techniques to see what helps you. The key is to embrace your strengths and recognize your weaknesses so that you can get the most out of your studying and ace that test. Want to learn more tips for succeeding in college? Stop by the Learning Center at your Hack campus to talk to a tutor. And don't forget to check out our other cool online videos. See you next time!
Now that we've watched that YouTube video on the different types of learners there are, we're going to take the assessment through career cruising. So you're going to log into career cruising, you're going to click on assessments, and then once again you have your 3 different choices of assessments that they have. You're going to look under learning styles inventory and it's going to say start learning style inventory. I've already taken it so I can show you how it looks when you're completed. I'm going to view my profile so you can see the 3 different types and the percentages that I received after taking the inventory. Once you've seen these, you can now tell what kind of learner that you are. And once again, it shows that the top 2 that I've received or that are the highest, I can use both of those or I can just use one of them, whichever I prefer. I'm a visual and auditory learner, so I can scroll through here, I can read about what those mean, and I can look at different ways I can use those to learn how to study in class, how I can utilize myself better in class, and outside of the classroom as well. Once you do this, you can go to your worksheet that you're going to use at student-led conferences, and you're going to use your information to be able to plug that information in there to share with your parents. So that worksheet that you have, your agenda and your script, the very first part is where you're going to put your learning style information. So it says, during the first weeks of school, I took a learning style inventory to learn how I am the most effective learner. This helps me understand how I will work to perform at my best levels in the classroom. The directions state, explain your learning style and give an example of how you learn best. How can this help you become a better learner or student? So in the first one, you're going to put your learning style or learning styles, whichever you prefer, and give examples of how you're going to use those to learn best in the classroom. Those are the examples that they gave in the video and the examples that they gave when they gave your results for your learning style. The second part, you're going to answer, how can I use this information to become a better student or a learner? What are you going to do from learning this information to utilize it and use it for your advantage? Once you're finished with this is the last part you're going to do for the day. Later on in the week, we're going to work on some goal setting, what we want to do after we've done our learning styles, we've done our matchmaker, we have an idea of a career that we're interested in. We're going to use all that information to do short-term and long-term goals. We will probably do this on Friday. And then after that, we're going to finalize with talking about our grades, how our learning styles and everything that we want to do in our future is going to help us with our academics. What do we want to do? What are some of our strengths and weaknesses that we want to do to improve on for the remainder of the school year and even after that? So today, just log into Career Cruising. You're going to click on Learning Styles. You're going to take the Learning Style Assessment, and then you're going to click on that worksheet that's in your My Plan, where you can click on your activities and experiences, and then Ms. Coots will have a list of those activities that you can use to fill out the worksheet or the worksheet that you've already saved and typed on. You can print those out, you can type them over on your iPad, whichever works best for you. Thank you and have a good day.